Hello and welcome to building my first model railway and my YouTube channel, Chapel Station. And yes, I'm back. I know what you're thinking, where have I been for the last few months? Well, unfortunately not in the railway room. In fact, today is my first day in here for about 2.5 months. Had a really busy summer. We do have a business that sort of sells stuff to tourists, and so unfortunately I've been really busy doing that. Got a big garden got to keep on top of, and just enjoying the really good weather. It's been an amazing summer, but not really conducive for coming down here and spending time in the railway room, which does get pretty hot. The good news is I've had a good look round. Everything seems to have survived the summer. As you'll see, there's a train running around the track as well, so that's good. So pretty much a thumbs up for where I left it. Everything at the moment seems to be fine. So in this episode, what I thought I would do is actually just give you a tour of the whole layout, so you can sort of get an understanding of the size of it and how it's laid out, and some of my plans for the autumn winter. Got lots of big plans to take it forward. Also got some new rolling stock. You've got to treat yourself, you know, every now and then. Gets you back into the railway mood. Get my mojo back. So yeah, got some new rolling stock to show you as well. So plenty to show you in this episode, but really using this episode as a launch pad for all the future videos I'm going to make, hopefully showing the amazing progress with the railway. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this video. So I'm now going to hand over to myself and give you a good tour and show you what the plans are. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, to give you a complete tour, I thought I'd start at the outside just so you can see it's in a large garden room, which measures, it's about 23 foot long by 10 foot deep. And it's actually, it's concrete. It was an old stable, but it's been clad and insulated. So although it looks wooden, it's actually a really solid building with concrete floor and concrete block walls and then insulated. So this side is just a traditional sort of garden room. You can see fitted out with TV and bits and just a chill out. And we've got the bifold doors that just look up the garden. I was only allowed to have half of it. That was the agreement with the wife. So my half is in this side. And you can see I've got a lifting bridge section across the doorway there, which you can see in one of the earlier episodes, actually, how I built that. And then it goes all the way around, basically just around the room. And this room measures, it's about 11 feet long by 10 feet wide. So it's pretty much, you know, just over 40 foot all the way around. So I'm now going to go into the room and show you a few close-ups now. So this is the first area I built, which you can see on earlier videos. This is the actual Chapel Station that the YouTube channel's named after. It's not identical to Chapel Station, but certainly is inspired by it. And if anyone who is watching knows the station, hopefully they can see elements of it in the station. The station is actually the opposite way around. The shunting yard is behind the other side of the main line, but I couldn't fit that into this layout. But I've designed it so that there is a nice little shunting area at the front, and that's sort of based on Budget Model Railways, their layout, their ideal shunting layout, I think he called it. So I sort of copied elements of that so I can do the Inglenut puzzle type of shunting here. You've got a little loco shed over this side with the watering tower and the coaling station. And then this side is goods unloading depot there, just a single unloading area. And then in front of that, because it is a historic heritage line, we've got a little cafe on a old coach, which Chapel has got. I think it's actually in the station though. And then round the back you can go out and link into the main line over a little crossing there. And then behind that you've got the actual main station with the road that runs down, comes over a bridge there and goes off into the distance, which again I had quite a bit of fun making. You can see that on previous videos. And then behind it you've got the two main lines that run up and down, and then a photo backdrop. There's not a lot of space between the photo backdrop and the line, because then originally I was just going to have a very narrow shelf layout, but I then built it out. So probably in hindsight I would have built it so there's a bit more of a room. So I've just tried to put a little dry wall there just to try and link the back scene to the actual layout. So that's pretty much the chapel station area there. And then I've just got a little shelf underneath with my two controllers, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. But you can see there I've got a DCC and a DC controller. And then if we run round the room, I'll go anti-clockwise. You've got the bridge that you just saw earlier. And it goes over into the corner where I've got, again, quite a big shelf area put there, and that's going to be the loco depot, as you can see. I've already got a few locomotives stabled in there. Ignore the little station in the background, that's just there just because I had nowhere else to put it. But yeah, that's going to be a full loco depot. And then if you run round again, front of the window is where I've got my underground station that I built, which you can see in previous episodes as well. And an above ground station above it. And so the aim will be to finish all this area off and then linking it round into my railway arches and my gas holder. So this is going to be more sort of city, industrial. Not exactly sure I'm going to link it yet, but yeah, I'm going to build a bit more there. And then in front or below that, I've actually got my work desk. It's a bit cluttered, as most work desks are. A TV and a Xbox there for a bit of fun. And it looks a nice view up the garden from there as well. So it's nice to sit here, watch the trains go by and do a bit of modelling. Then panning around a bit further, sorry for all the panning, but this is the gas holder and gas fire that I had real fun building. And you can see that I think in my previous video to this one. Yeah, lots of fun making that and putting that together and making a little film of it. So really pleased with the way that's turned out. Just now need to finish this end, which is just the unloading area, so I'm put some gantries and some tanks and that there, just finish that off nicely. And then in the background you've got the two main lines coming round. This again is another nice shunting area, and I've also put the third and fourth rail on this back road there that goes round and through the tunnel. You can see that round to the actual underground station. It's not completely realistic because you wouldn't normally mix up the two lines, obviously, but for my railway I wanted to have underground and main line together, so it's pretty much the only way I could get around it. So I've sort of tried to keep them separate a little bit. And then this will go up through a tunnel and into a hillside, so all this will be hillside here, and this will then go down into the valley with a little river. Excuse on my badly stored rolling stock. It'll be a river here and maybe a little road, and this whole viaduct area again is representing Chapel, which has got a huge viaduct next to the station. So again, just a sort of little nod to the Chapel area, nowhere near as big as the actual viaduct. And that will link the back round to the Chapel station. That will link this area nicely with the rest of the layout. So that's pretty much excuse me, that's pretty much the whole layout. I've then just got a bit of shelving above for some storage. Like I said, I do need to actually get more storage, as you saw from the viaduct storage area. And then as far as the actual layout and how it operates at the moment, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I'm sort of half DCC and half DC. So at the moment I've got the Chapel shunting yard and the gas holder shunting yard and the inner line, the inner loop is running off the DC controller here. The left hand one runs the loop, and then the right hand one runs the shunting yard. And then the outside line is purely on this very basic EZ DCC backman controller. So I can run my sound locos. Haven't got that many, I think 3 is all I've got at the moment. So at the moment, most of my rolling stock, and I'll give you a few more close-ups of it in a minute, but most of the rolling stock is DC and not DCC. And I've got that sort of dilemma that I think a lot of people have, whether I convert to DCC and have to put chips in all the locomotives and the expense and the hassle of doing that. I do like the way DCC operates, you know, it's much smoother, much more realistic. I like the way the locos slow down and speed up more realistically and hold their consistent speed. So certainly DCC I think is probably the route I will go down eventually, but at the moment I'm running the both. I do plan on building a little control panel so that I have my points, and I think I'm going to keep all the points just on the basic switches just to keep them simple, but have a switchable DC and DCC so I can run the layout on either completely DC or completely DCC, because at the moment obviously I can't mix them, which means it limits the operation of the layout completely, where I can only, you know, have to keep the outside line is completely isolated from the rest. So that's a tour of the actual layout and my thoughts going forwards. I'll just show you a few close-ups of some of the rolling stock and what I've got at the moment. So I think, as I mentioned in the introduction, I have treated myself to some extra rolling stock just to get me back into the groove. You know, once you have a big break, you lose a bit of momentum and you lose a bit of enthusiasm. So yeah, I thought I saw these on offer, so I thought I'd treat myself to these Dapol JHA wagons. I've already got, I just pan round slowly, I've already have the Yeoman Class 59, it's just the basic railroad one from Hornby. But I thought the Yeoman JHA wagons will fit in lovely with it. So I sort of stretched the budget a bit and got as many as I could afford, so I've got 5. You've got to have one either end, which has the normal coupling, and I think they have a flashing tail lamp as well. So I've seen some other reviews on them which are really good, so yeah, I thought I'd go ahead and buy them. So let's unpack them and see how we get on. So I thought I'd start by unpacking one of the M1s. I can just see it's got a normal coupling, coupling on one end. And I don't know what the actual model number is. There it is. And someone else said in a review they are heavy, and they do feel heavy, so when I start unpacking a loco. Yeah. So there's a little extras, brake pipes and that. So how to fit DCC, which I don't need at the moment, but at least if I do upgrade in the future to a full DCC layout, I can fit them. And then this side is fitting accessories. Yeah. Okay, so how we can see that, it's much a reflection of the light. Well packaged, which is good to see. Demolish my underground station. So yeah, they are feels quite solid, which is unusual for most of my cheap wagons. Are really light and plasticky. I'm loving the end where you've got the very fine handrails, sprung buffers, yeah, and that's got then standard coupling. The yellow picked out and the handrails picked out. And I don't know how I want to focus on the decals, but as I say, there's plenty of other reviews on YouTube of this. But I've got to say, it looks very impressive to me. Yeah, very impressive indeed. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is I won't film it all, but I'm going to unpack all of them and get them on the layout, and then I'll show you it when they're all on the actual railway. Okay, so I've unpacked them all. They're all in perfect working order. No damages, no breakages or anything, and they're all now on my track, as you can see there, and they're coupled up to my Hornby 59 as well. So I think they're looking pretty impressive, actually, really pleased with them. There's a slightly different shade of blue between the two, but that's being picky really. And you'll notice the end wagons, the two end ones with the actual D-hook couplings and not regular couplings, have got yellow painted bogies, and then the middle ones have all got orange painted, and the last one up there again is yellow, which has got a D-hook the other end. And the couplings in the middle have got a slightly different coupling. I can't remember what they call them. These like knuckle couplings. Don't know how well it's coming out on the camera. Try and zoom in. You see that? Which really look more realistic actually than the big old D couplings. But I do know from Sam's trains, when I was watching his review, every now and then when they weren't under tension they were uncoupling, so it'll be interesting to see if that happens when I run around my layout. The other thing I'm concerned about, although I know this loco goes round, is the actual curves. Obviously it's a squarish room, so there's 4 corners. And when I built the layout, and probably what I didn't mention actually earlier on my layout tour, is probably my mistake was I made this a first radius and this a second radius because I wanted them to be quite in the corner. Originally, as I say, it was only going to be a shelf layout, so I didn't really want them to come out too much. But obviously now it's developed into a full railway, probably would have been better to make them second and third, or third and fourth. So it is a challenge obviously for some locos to get around these corners. And I've got quite steep gradients as well. I'm on a steep gradient now. And these wagons, although they're on proper bearings, they are really heavy. I think they're about 250 grams each, so that means this train here is over 1 kilogram in weight. So this has got to take it around the first radius curves and up gradients. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. But I do know this loco will go around, and it's really long. If you see, you can compare it to the 31 here in front of it. It's a good few inches longer than the 31 or even a 47. So it does look a bit strange going around the corners, but it does get round fortunately. So I suppose the positive is that a lot of the locos will go around the first radius curve, even if the manufacturers don't say they can. So let's start her up and see how we get on. Switch the controller, and then I'll do some filming of it running around. So hopefully there we go. So there she is in the station. Had a good run around the layout a few times to get some of those filming angles. And I've got to say, amazingly for a first radius curves, it ran round fine. I had to be on the controller though, because I had to put a bit more power when going up the incline, which is just round from the station here. It's a gradual incline, but it is coming off a tight bend as well. So I needed a bit of power to get up that incline and over the bridge. And then equally, when I was running around, let's pan round again, so for the panning, but when I was running down this incline, the weight of it would really run away of itself, and I think had I not been on the controller to turn it down significantly, it would have derailed on that bend there. So it really did speed up with the weight of the wagons pushing it. But other than that, and I suppose there is some realistic in driving there that you'd need to do something similar on a real train. So other than that, it worked really well. It uncoupled once on the corner here and left the trailing wagon behind. And when I did some reversing up around the bend, it uncouples. I suppose that's because when you're pushing there's no tension, and then when it goes around the corner, obviously when you're pushing against them, there's no tension, and then when you go around the corner, in fact, let me see if I can give you an example. Switch controller. So let me show you on this corner here. Yeah, if I go around the corner a bit and then go backwards, and couples, you see. Oops, stop that, because it'll run away. So that's probably the only issue I found with these couplings. I'll crack it if it runs away. There you go, and so it hooks up. But then once you drive forward again, it's under tension, it's fine. And like I say, even on these first radius curves, you can go around the curve there, nice and controlled. So one thing I do like is the tail light, that even at low speed on the DC, it does flash up, so I'll just put it on there and you'll see it flashing. There you go, it's hardly moving. As it pulls away, it's starting to flash. I'll focus now. Okay, so here we are now back where we started, having done quite a few laps of the layout to do the filming, and I think they look great. They were running really well, considering, as I said earlier, it's the first radius curves all the way around this inner ring, and some gradients as well, and they're just being pulled by this very basic Hornby Railroad Class 59. I think it might have traction tyres, which probably would have helped with the gradients, but still, yeah, I'm really pleased with it. What I might do now is actually try them on the outer road, which obviously is better, slightly smoother curves, and I might try them with a DCC locomotive to see how that manages the gradients, because obviously that's a bit more consistent. So I'm going to give that a go in a minute, and I'll just film it for some of the closing shots. But no, I can highly recommend these HPA wagons. Really good if you like the yeoman livery. Got these from Cano models, and I say they're on offer at the moment. I think they were £33 for the inner ones and £36 for the outside ones, which is quite a good reduction. Definitely worth the money. So really good. Have a good running session today. Now I need to get on with some modelling. So hopefully you'll see some progress in the next video. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll just hopefully have some closing shots of them running around with a DCC locomotive. Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you again soon. I thought I'd just give you a quick update before I finish this video. It's now, as you can see, that I've now got the wagons on the outer loop with my Class 20, and I've just been doing some running shots, and yeah, it's just running fantastic. It's nice and controlled as predicted. The inclines make no difference whatsoever, and the curves are fine. So it's yeah, it's brilliant on the outer of the DCC. So what I might actually do now is try and get a TTS chip for my 59 and get the TTS 66, which I think sounds similar, and I can run that on the outer loop as well. So I'll just finish some shots of it running with the 20. Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you again soon.